Today I want to teach you my method for generating ideas, so you never have to face the dreaded blank canvas again. The blank canvas is one of the top reasons that my students freeze up when they sit down to draw. This system is conveniently called the ideas method. The ideas method is a cycle. If you have a lot of ideas throughout the day, you might start at a different point than someone who has no ideas at all. Don't worry, I'm going to explain both. Let's start with someone who feels overwhelmed and has too many ideas. There's a good chance if you're watching this video, when you sit down to draw, you are dreading a blank canvas. A new painting is the scariest part of the creation process for you. You could draw anything. The possibilities are endless, but where are your ideas when you need them most? There's a good chance that you've had ideas pop into your head throughout the day. Maybe when you're at work, maybe when you're busy running errands, maybe when you're walking your dog. Ideas come to you and you wish you could just sit down and draw them. Do you have a plan for organizing these ideas? If your answer is, I'm just gonna sit here, stare out the window and wait for the ideas to come back to me, wrong. No, we're not doing that. Most people forget their ideas when it's time to actually sit down and draw. What you need to do is dump those ideas down somewhere. Get them out of your head. It can be helpful to designate a pretty journal or a special app specifically for keeping track of these ideas. But whatever you do, don't let the ideas slip away. If you're somebody with too many ideas, writing them down somewhere will help you remember them later on when you have to create something and suddenly your ideas are just not there. Your mind is blank. Once you've compiled this list, you're gonna feel a whole lot less anxious when you sit down in front of the blank canvas. Instead of stressing about what to draw or coming up with something new every time, you will just have a list of ideas ready to go. All that's left to do is pick your favorite. And if you're struggling to pick one, I also have a solution for this. It's an easy one. Just flip a coin. There's no wrong choice here. At one point or another, all of these ideas excited you. The less time you spend overthinking what to draw, the more time you'll actually have to draw. And for a lot of you watching this channel, you're busy with day jobs, you're busy with families, you don't have a lot of time. If you're watching this and you're still really wrestling with overthinking, I'm gonna link to another video that I think would be more helpful for you to watch before you finish this one. But now we've established the first letter in our ideas method, I, for idea dump. Dump everything down so you can revisit it later. Now you know what to do with your ideas. Nice.
Nice.
But I already know what you're thinking. Sil, some of my ideas are crap or cringy. No one's gonna like them. Why would I waste time and write them down? Overthinking and judging your ideas before they're developed is the real time waster. When you judge your ideas too early, you're stealing their potential before they even get actualized, and you begin to doubt every single idea that comes up. The more you judge, the harder it becomes for more ideas to flow, or any ideas. You will end up stuck thinking, what if I'm just not creative? And next thing you know, you're spiraling into thoughts of, should I even be an artist? We definitely don't want to go there. But when you stop judging your ideas begin to flow free. You're no longer blocking your creative energy by shutting down ideas as they come to you. You might even start to notice that some ideas come to you and they create this sort of chain of inspiration. Sometimes what seems like a silly or an insignificant idea will lead to something bigger, but you have to allow that to happen. You have to allow the ideas to exist. You'll also find that you don't run out of ideas anymore because your brain is constantly generating them. And because you're writing them down, you'll have a constant list of things to pull from when you sit in front of the blank canvas. Don't get me wrong, being skeptical of your ideas is a good thing. You want to make sure that the idea resonates with you, but hold off on being overly critical, especially in the beginning. Wait until you sit down with your pencil and you actually start sketching. Then you can decide if the idea is going to become something, or even worth becoming something. For now, let's just rely on the D in our acronym. Don't judge your ideas. So we're working on avoiding the judgment of our ideas, but are there any other doubts that come up? Doubts like, what if this idea is too big for my skills? What if no one likes it? What if it's a bad idea? What if it tanks on social media? Or what if I hate it? What if it's too difficult? What if I can't do it? A lot of what ifs. Doubts have a way of showing up when you are ready to start drawing. This is another reason why ideas get abandoned. And it can be even more damaging because it makes us question ourselves. As artists, the project we take on can feel huge. Sometimes they span days, weeks, even months. Our brains tend to jump to the worst case scenario because it's really hard to picture every step of the process. These doubts can feel really big, but usually it's not a reflection of the actual process. What I want you to do is write down these doubts. Getting them out of your head is what's going to keep you focused on what matters, the drawing. I know that doubting yourself probably doesn't feel good, and neither does acknowledging it, but here's the good news. These doubts can actually guide your learning. Hear me out. The things that you're worried about often point to areas where you might need to spend some time learning. If you're worried you don't have the right skills for the project, that's probably a sign of something you need to study. Maybe you need to improve your skills, your technique, or maybe even prepare for a bigger challenge. By acknowledging these doubts, you're more likely to take constructive action. Don't let them scare you off, okay? Hang on. Instead, let them point the way towards your growth. And this is the E in our acronym. Express your doubts. You don't want them haunting you during the creative process. Now that you've expressed your doubts, what do you need to learn in order to tackle this project? Now, I don't want you to dive straight into tutorials or research. You're not trying to avoid drawing here. We don't want to get stuck in a rabbit hole or in a study loop. Instead, I just want you to focus on taking note of the things that you're uncertain about. This step is similar to expressing your doubts, but in more of a technical version. But once you've written these down, I want you to tuck them away for now. I'll explain how to use them after we start drawing. And that means the A in our acronym stands for assess. Think ahead about what you might need, but don't let it hold you back from getting started. Finally, the most important step. It's time to start drawing. Once you've gone through the first 4 steps, you're ready to dive in. And this is where the magic happens. Don't worry if your idea isn't fully formed yet. Just start sketching. Drawing itself is going to reveal new ideas, and it's going to help clarify things that maybe you hadn't thought of yet. You might be feeling some resistance or anxiety at the thought of just simply drawing, especially if you're someone who has trouble even coming up with ideas. If you're someone who isn't used to this step, you might be doubting my advice here. When you draw more, you're going to generate more ideas, and because of this, you'll feel less anxious while drawing. Because the anxiety revolves around, oh my God, I don't have ideas. Where are my ideas? What if I'm not creative? What if I'm not an artist? It's the overthinking without drawing that causes the anxiety. Over time, this cycle is going to become easier and you'll spend more time drawing and less on judging and worrying and overthinking. And here's an extra bonus that I didn't mention at the start of the video. The IDEAS acronym has also been specifically designed to also help you create a roadmap for your learning. In the last step, start drawing, you're jumping right into the action. Here is where you discover what you actually need to study. As you draw, you'll face things that challenge your skills, your confidence. These things only show up in the thick of drawing, and it's important to distinguish these separately from worrying or just assuming that you suck. These are actually things that your brain is saying, hey, I don't know what I'm doing here. I need to study this. Whatever these things are, write them down on a separate list. I know we have a lot of talk of lists now, so at the current moment, you should have 2 lists. You have one list of your doubts and things that you think you need to study, and you have a second list of actual real-time challenges that you face while drawing. This is an opportunity to compare this new list with your previous one. Are there any fundamentals that overlap on both lists? When it's time to study, utilize both of these by only studying topics that overlap on both lists. If you wrote, I need to study faces on your worries list, but then during drawing realized I'm kind of rusty at drawing backgrounds, then it's not your priority to study faces for this project. This is going to save you so much wondering about, what do I study? What should I be learning right now? It's going to help you focus on what's important to your project, but also what's important to you in that moment. If you're someone who gets really overwhelmed by learning, this is going to help you. All right, and now to the worst feeling of all. What if you have no ideas? If you're someone who has no ideas or feels like you have no ideas, don't worry. You don't have to start with the idea dump. It would be pretty hard to start with the idea dump if you felt like you had no ideas. Here's what you can do instead. In the ideas method, I want you to start with the S. Start drawing. Just picking up the pencil and drawing shapes, lines, whatever it is, it's gonna start to inspire some ideas. Whether you think of something or you see something in the shapes, it will help. You can also start with a prompt or a random generator or maybe some kind of drawing challenge. Then you'll follow the same cycle as we talked about in the beginning. Dump your ideas down as they come up while drawing. If that doesn't work, consume content that inspires you, whether that's browsing art, reading a book, watching a movie. Inspiration comes from many, many sources. Once you feel inspired, dump those ideas. And now you realize you're not so different from someone who has ideas. You just gotta get to the groove a little bit. We've all been there though. Alrighty, so to recap, the ideas method is all about making the creative process easier by tracking and generating ideas to reduce mental clutter. Here's the acronym. I, for idea dump. Get your ideas down. D, don't judge the ideas, let them flow. E, express your doubts, get them out of your head. A, assess what you need to learn. Jot down your weaknesses without jumping into research. S, start drawing. Get to work and learn along the way. Like this video if you found it helpful, and share any tips that you might have for generating and sorting your own ideas in the comments. Thanks for watching.